Good evening, parents, friends, teachers, administration, and fellow graduates. I am honored to be standing here before you today and want to begin in gratitude by thanking supportive teachers, family, and especially my parents for sacrificing so much to give me the gift of a Westminster education. I am eternally grateful. I also want to extend my deep appreciation for all the effort that went into making tonight's celebration possible. Well, I'm sure everyone is tired of hearing this, but 2020 has not been the most ideal year. If anyone were to tell me back in January that this is how the last semester of my senior year was going to unfold, I probably would have laughed and exclaimed over the improbability of such extraordinary events. The first half of our year was almost flawless, even though our grade has the most athletically talented group of young women and we lost the powder puff game. But what transpired after that was out of anyone's hands. The second half of our senior year was canceled in many ways. For the past 6 months, the national class of 2020 has been the object of sympathy. We have received videos and messages from celebrities expressing their condolences over lost rites of passage. John Krasinski held a virtual prom over YouTube Live on his Some Good News platform. Daniel Penton even DJ'd a prom after party via Zoom back in April on the night when we were supposed to have the dance. The amazing faculty and administration at Westminster threw us a truly unforgettable drive-by parade. Needless to say, the community has done an impeccable job trying to make up for the once-in-a-lifetime opportunities of the typical high school graduating senior. But if I'm being honest, the Westminster Christian School class of 2020 has never been typical. For a long time, I thought our class was jinxed. Our trend of unfortunate events began back in 4th grade when our teacher was diagnosed with breast cancer and was out for most of the year. In 5th grade, most of our classes were moved to portables, while we watched the elementary school we grew up in get torn down to build the beautiful facility that we never got to occupy. Then, in 6th grade, we met the lovely Brianna Vega. Fighting leukemia and beginning middle school all at the same time never seemed to faze her. She embodied everything a Westminster warrior is and should be, and she was only 11. God called her home in February of that year, but her legacy lived on through us the rest of our time at WCS. In the summer before 10th grade, we all saw the picture that Patrick Battle posted on Instagram informing us that he had been diagnosed with cancer. But boy, Patrick was a force to be reckoned with. He was brilliant. Every time he opened his mouth, I was blown away by what he had to say. He was called home in December of 2018, and we have felt his absence keenly. Junior year, Jake had a brain aneurysm. We prayed vigorously for weeks, showing the community what the power of prayer can really accomplish. By God's grace, Jake recovered, and every day I am grateful for that. He is a great friend and an inspiration. And then came the long-awaited senior year. In the beginning, we thought the biggest disappointment would be missing out on the new auditorium, being the class that lives through the construction dust but never gets to actually enjoy the new building. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Well, 2020 had far bigger challenges in store than that. I think all of the graduates here today can tell you exactly where they were on February 16th when they found out that Lucas Alvarez had suddenly passed away. For me, I was in the Ocean Wave recording studio in Nashville, Tennessee, having just finished a 2-hour session with the high school choir, recording a song for a Christmas album benefiting the Wounded Warrior Project. Lucas was full of life and spirit. I've never met someone so goofy, yet so charming and friendly. Learning he was gone was a huge shock. When I heard the news and in the days that followed, time had seemed to stand still, yet the world just kept raging on. That's what 2020 has felt like, a constant state of shock where you just want time to stand still, you just want to isolate yourself from reality. But no, the world continues on without your permission. No matter what we do to control our lives, the unexpected just keeps happening. A few short weeks later, the pandemic hit, causing stress and disruption, followed by national upheaval. Much of our senior year was essentially canceled, never getting to experience the moments we had been waiting for, seen in movies, and watched older siblings do in the past. We had to say goodbye to our senior prom, grad bash, last day of school, senior awards, senior chapel, athletic seasons, final performances on a stage, and a normal graduation where we could sit side by side on the same stage for the last time. So why am I recounting what we all already know? Not to complain. I'm saying this because this is our story. If there is anything I have learned as my time as a warrior, it's that you may make your plans, but God has his own plans too. And although you may not understand it at the time, his plans are always better. Many say this class has bad luck, but I disagree. Brianna, Patrick, and Lucas could have been in any other grade, gone to any other school, in any country, in any state, and in any city. But instead, God purposely placed each one of them in the Westminster Christian School class of 2020. That was by no accident. I don't view Brianna, Patrick, and Lucas as mere strokes of bad luck. I view them as divine interventions. You see, each of our warrior angels taught us a different lesson. Brianna taught us to have endless optimism in the midst of life's greatest struggles. Patrick taught us to battle strong when unforeseen challenges are thrown our way. And Lucas taught us to live life to the fullest, be present, appreciate people while you have them, and always be content with God's provisions. Everything that has happened to this class was intricately planned since we even began our educational careers. And I believe with every fiber in my being that each graduate here today was purposely placed in this group. I am convinced that we won't be remembered for our accomplishments or the things that happened to us, but rather the way we responded to hardship. We will be remembered for our ceaseless resiliency. Every lesson we have learned from every tragedy we have faced has equipped us and strengthened us for the rest of our lives. Even though this last year has felt like the end in more ways than one, let me remind you that this is really just a new beginning. As we move on from being the class of 2020 to the class of 2024, I know that we will take every moment with us to the rest of our journey. We are battle-tested warriors, having lived so much of what is taught at WCS. We are taught to trust God's sovereignty in every situation, and we have. We have grieved, but not as those without hope. We have seen the power of prayer. We have experienced how nothing can separate us from the love of God, not even death. Although we will be spread out all across the world in the years to come, challenges have forged an unbreakable bond among us. We have been through too much and loved too hard to ever become strangers that just knew each other once upon a time back in high school. We will be remembered as the most bonded warriors. I cannot wait to see what this class accomplishes, whether the baseball boys become the next MLB pros, or Sophia Boulevard takes the stage as a famous musician, or Katya stands on the stage as a sports anchor on Super Bowl Sunday in 2035. Or Miles becomes Hollywood's next star. Or William becomes the next Ed Sheeran. Or Nelson takes over the world as the next big business tycoon. I know we each have important contributions to make to this world. Some of us may become all-star moms and dads. Some of us may be first responders, teachers, engineers, doctors, entrepreneurs, leaders, the list goes on. Whatever our callings, the impact we will make will have been shaped by these special years at Westminster together. I will leave you with a challenge that a certain varsity girls basketball coach and student activities director you know and love as Mr. C reminds me every day: chase greatness. And because of all we have been through and all it has taught us, I know the class of 2020 will chase it fearlessly. God bless. I love you all. Thank you.